All right, it's May 9th on the Big Douglas Show. It is another Super Monday edition. Rapper Big Pooh is doing his civic duty and is doing jury type stuff. So I know he's disappointed he's not here today. But Jamal Forrest is here, the host of the Trap or Dive podcast. We appreciate him stepping in for Pooh. Big Chris Swaggy Baker is here every Monday, so we always appreciate that. And today, brought with him Santana Moss. Tanner, thanks for hopping on with us today.
No doubt. Thanks for having me, man.
Appreciate you. It's been a week, Chris, since Ozark finale came on. Was it everything you hoped for? Ted, are you an Ozark guy?
Yeah. I tuned in. I was pissed off because I actually finished it in one night. I'm like, damn, I ain't had nothing to look forward to the next days of the week. But that's how it is when you got some stuff like that, presented to you like that on Netflix, man. Netflix give you the chance to take advantage of it right now. You ain't gotta wait every week to see the new episodes,
right? Binge watch it all day.
Yeah.
So it was Ruth and not Wendy Bird who got it at the end. Swaggy, how did you like the finale? Was it a good wrap up to what was one of the better series in a long time?
I thought it was pretty good, but I thought it left us with the opportunity where they could bring another season back, even though they said this was the last one. I think it's still open for something to happen in Mexico. So I'm interested to see, how long they keep away from, doing something different with Ozark. But it was pretty cool. I hated to see Ruth die, even though she was kind of an asshole and was starting a lot of trouble at the end with the casino and stuff. But I love the show. It kept me interested. I always wanted to, keep watching. I will always turn on when it's time to go to bed and fall asleep. And like, I got to watch these 3 episodes again.
Ruth was always walking around like George Jefferson. She was serious business. Maul, I know you gave everybody a week. I always appreciate when, people don't start talking about it the very next day, because sometimes it takes me a little bit to get around to them. A week's gone by. I know you have thoughts on this.
Yeah, and to y'all point, man, that's what happens when you get Netflix. You can watch that thing all in one day. It took me 2 days, Santa. So I was done. I was done before the weekend was up. But yeah, I was a little frustrated. I ain't gonna lie to you. Somebody had asked me like, what was I hoping for? And to be honest with you, what I was hoping for was I forgot Cartel's dude's name, but I was hoping his sister was the one who got triple cross. I ain't want him to get the short end of the stick, but I was hoping it was her and that Marty was the one who stepped up to the plate and said, "Hey, bruh, she the one gunning for you. You got to do something about it. Like y'all gotta work together type still." But it didn't work out like that. So that pissed me off. And then Wendy not paying for her mistakes, because we were talking about it before the show. Like the fact that she was so ruthless, and she wasn't really thinking 10 steps ahead. She was thinking about the now, and it never backfired. Like how do you get that lucky? So I'm like, how does nobody pay for this in this family? So that it really frustrated me. But at the end of the day, I can't get mad at a show like that. I loved it.
That's woman into what the hell is the word I'm trying to use? Damn, I can't think of the word. But it's something about women.
Oh, intuition.
Yeah, intuition.
Yeah,
there
we go.
Woman intuition, man. It just happened to work in her favor, man.
Always.
And now it's the whole women empowerment thing. So anything the lady says is going to go, and that's how it went. All the women were in power moves inside of Ozark.
Nah, for real.
Ted, Swaggy was on here and he told us a story. I'm curious. He about the first time he had sat down after a big paycheck to a big Blu-ray game. Now, I got to tell you, I am a gambler by nature and a card player. I was unfamiliar with the game, but I'm curious, 2 things. If you recall that story of Swaggy's first big pot, and I'm curious if you have a story about the first time you sat down to a card game and the stakes got big and you're like, oh, man.
Yeah, I don't sit down into to so many different games, man. Then and now, so I know I'm not going to be accurate with what his first one was, but we done had so many, man. They all kind of overlap each other, man.
Right.
It's like an ongoing thing for however many years we played. You just add up the weeks and you add up the years, and add up the money. The money is
Right.
ridiculous if you think about it, man. But those boo games are like, you know what? It's like it's addictive. Like I've been to other card games where it's dealer's choice, and I presented this boo game to everybody. And now when I don't be there to these games, they calling me like, look, we play boo all night. Like everyone gets caught onto it. The money is so fast, and it's just like, bro, you have to be smart. Like guys will sit out there and chase, thinking that they can throw them cards back in and pull one or two that's gonna help them just for a pot that they ain't got nothing to do with. You know what I mean? You leave that
Right.
pot, it ain't got nothing to do with your money that you know got booed or something. Leave it alone, you know, and it's just a part of the love of the game, man. And it's one of those games that, trust me, man, to this day, it's not a call I don't get throughout the week about a boo game.
Yep. You get caught on that train. You get caught on the track.
But on that track, man.
How often do you guys hang out with guys from the other franchises as far as the other sports in DC? Is there a lot of overlap there with the guys in the other sports like the Wizards and the Caps and the Nats like that?
No, we stick to what we know. You gotta understand, you know, everybody in their own little bubble, you know, basically. I mean, you might have friends when it comes to going out and bumping into those guys. Guy might appreciate your game, you might be a fan of his game, and y'all show mutual respect. But unless you got a guy on the phone that you just know like that from one of those other leagues, you ain't calling nobody. You calling your brothers that you sit out there and you go out there and go to war with every day. And we keep it right there in our little bubble. We ain't worrying about nobody else. Now, you got a couple of relatives that's up that want to get in. They could get in, you know, but we don't go too far outside our own little bubble.
Plus, it's so far. You know, a lot of the guys who play basketball or hockey, they live in DC. We lived in Ashburn. We was an hour and 20 minutes away with no traffic.
Yeah.
I noticed that first of all, you've been doing great stuff with the interviews for the team, Tana. They've got a new man up in the radio booth. D Hall is out, presumably getting more work at the NFL Network, and London is in. I'm curious, did you throw your name in the ring for that job? Was it something you were interested in?
You know, we all got a chance to audition, and trust me, just having an opportunity to be doing what I'm doing, I'm thankful. You know, I just heard somebody talking about just being appreciative of opportunities, and I've always been a big guy about opportunities. You know, I live for those opportunities. That's why I'm always doing things, because I stay ready for any opportunity. But when the opportunity was presented to myself, and I just thought about the whole realm of everything, do I need more? You know, any guy would be like, man, I want that because I want the money. But, you know, necessarily, I love my time. And I love this game. That's why I tend to stick around and be a part of what I can. But I just felt like I sat back and watched D Hall do it. He did a great job. I had a chance to do what I do and still have my time to get back to Florida every now and then to see my kids, be with my family. And so I thought that was most important. But at the same time, too, it couldn't have been a better man that they got, you know, when London. I think he's, you know, overqualified for the job. You know, you got to be realistic with yourself as well. You know, I'm a realist. I'm going to be able to tell you off the top, and you ain't got to audition me. If I feel that I'm qualified and I had the time, maybe I would have stepped out there and did it. But I just felt like, you know, in that area, you have to really be one of those guys that's ready to spit that fire every play, every single. And I just thought about, I say, man, you know, I'm not a big talker. You know what I mean? Like, I say what I say when it's time. And, you know, I have my ins and outs. I have my say so when it comes to giving my insight when I'm called upon or asked. But I think I love what D Hall did the last few years doing the job. Bram does a great job. Even Julie, being her first time being in that seat doing it, she's getting in and doing a great job. But I just felt like, man, I can, you know, enjoy what I'm doing and continue to get better at what I'm doing. I kind of like stuff like this, more that, you know, my kind of vibe, things where I can kind of be in chill mode and just chop it up. You know, that's my ball game, chopping it up, you know, telling stories and, you know, doing those sorts of things. But I think he was perfect for the job, and I'm glad he got it.
And I'm assuming then, with time being such an important thing, I get that coaching, I'm assuming, was not something that you were interested in simply because of the time.
Yeah, I'm very interested, but just the time right now, still being young. You know, maybe when I'm in my 50s and I done did everything. You know, you done played 14 years in the pros. You had another 4 years in college. Then you add the high school years, and you add your little league years. And you got to think, when I was in little league, high school, and college, I was a dual athlete, so that was track and football. I never got a chance to rest. I never got a chance to really just exhale and enjoy life. You know, and don't get me wrong, I would do it all over again if I had to, but I've always saw myself playing football professionally. I knew that it was going to be my ticket to be able to live the way I wanted to live and give and take care of my family the way I want to. And when I got that opportunity, once I got to the pros, look, if they wouldn't giving me a check, I still would have played. You know, that's how much I love the game, and I'm pretty sure if they didn't, well, they know now. But I tried to show that every time I stepped on the field that this is just something that I love to do, and that's why I go hard for it. But when I got finished, it went across. It kind of, you know how it is when you have those thoughts of what's next. I was thinking like, shit, this all I know. You know, of course I've been doing other things, but you know, football is what I know and what I want to stick around. But then when I saw the time that you had to put in outside of all those years adding up, I didn't think I was ready for that either. And that's why I said I took advantage of having a chance to really just be on TV and, you know, cover the team, because it still gives me that, you know, that joy or kind of satisfied my cravings for wanting to be a part of football.
Yeah, and it's like, little do people know, like, even though you have a great career, you know, as a player, when you go into coaching, you start off from the bottom. You're like an undrafted free agent. You're not just coming in as Santana Moss the Great. You're coming in as an intern. You know what I mean? So they got you there all kind of hours. They barely pay you anything. And, you know, as a player, we were able to see all the young guys like Sean McVay and those guys come up from those quality control positions and then, you know, work their way up throughout the years. But, you know, it's kind of difficult when you kind of feel like you're the expert at your position. Then they put you all the way back so you can start from square one in order to become a coach.
Now,
so
I will say this. Now, I will say this. With all that being said, that's where it comes in at, to just knowing your worth and saying, if you didn't feel like you qualified to start way back then, you don't even take the opportunity. Like, oh, well, I'll just have to wait for you opening that spot that I need. Because there's a lot of guys, the Wes Welkers, a lot of those guys got a chance to be receiver coaches off the bat. So
Reggie Wayne right now, right? Didn't he walk right into the job? Right?
Yeah, Reggie Wayne just got a chance to be a receiver coach too, and then he waited. I thought I'd never see him coaching, because he told me he kind of uttered some of the same things that I just spoke on about the time and everything. But I think the thing that he had the last 7 years, I think, because he was on NFL Network for at least about 2 of those years, but the last at least 6 years he had nothing but time, and so I think some of that kind of credited to him now feeling like, hey, I had the time away from TV and the game, and probably now I want to get back into it. It's I have those cravings to get back into it. So I'm never Xing or saying that I won't go down that path or that road. I just feel like right now I'm enjoying the space I'm in, and I just want to continue to grow and do some of the things I'm doing on the entrepreneurial side of things, and just trying to have fun with that.
But when that time does come, and I guess Swag, to a degree, you can answer this as well. But when that time does come for to get back on the coaching side, what kind of level is it interesting in? Is it NFL or nothing? Because I know there's plenty of athletes who love that high school level. Chris Samuel's in the area, he's coaching the high school, and I think DeQuell Jackson is in DC as well, or he was. I can't remember to a degree right now, but there's always something that does the high school, the college, and even the little league and stuff like that. So is this something that interests you? Other levels, and trying to teach the people that is coming up into the pro game?
I think when it comes to that time, I would probably have that. I would probably give time to think about it. Now, with that being said, due to the fact I don't have to give so much time, I can kind of cater to those high school and little league levels now. I don't think I can be out there all day, every day, but I know I can give my input and insight. And one of the main things I wanted to do is just be able to, try to give my son a little more of my time when it comes to what he's doing now. Like I'm hands off when it comes to that stuff with your kids. A lot of fathers are different, especially the ones who played the game at a high level. Me, I just don't see that the person that I am can really sit there and coach his son, because I'm hard as hell on him. And I know they probably hate my when I'm around just coaching them and always, critiquing and nitpicking at things they do. So I allow guys who has experience. I love those coaches who's in, they're in that space with, they share that space with, to give their insight and, coach them up well. But that's one of the reasons why I wanted time, because I would love to be able to go back and forth and just, be hands-on with him instead of having to worry about taking care of some other body or someone else's kids.
Yeah, I kind of been going back and forth with that. I feel like at this point in my life, I'll probably be more useful for the high school age kids, just because I went through the process. I know what it takes to get to college. I know the things that you need to do as far as your studies. I know how, I was a 2-star athlete and I made it to Penn State with only playing football my junior year and senior year of high school. So I kind of have a lot of knowledge, and the fact that I played professional football, I kind of know what it takes to get to that league. I think the kids from my neighborhood really are attracted to a person that came from their neighborhood and did it the right way and was successful, and they kind of hold on to everything that you say. So I feel like my biggest impact will probably be at the high school level, maybe at the college level. But obviously, I would love to coach in the NFL, because that's just, I'm good at what I do. I feel like especially being an undrafted guy and just understanding how to make it from the bottom of the league and to becoming a starter, I kind of like have those tools and know what it takes to, get to guys and have them do it the right way, considering that, especially for a guy like me, I had to do it the right way every single time just in order to get a chance. You know what I mean? Especially being undrafted. It's so hard to stay in the league. Undrafted guys, they look for ways to get rid of you instead of keeping you around. So I kind of know from both ends of the spectrum. So it's kind of awkward, but I would love to coach in the NFL, but I feel like my biggest impact would probably be with high school and college kids when it comes to coaching.
Tanner, you prefer track or football?
Football.
Well, I have people that, the track is a singular thing and it's on your own. So,
don't get it twisted, man. I did track. I ain't gonna lie, to the grace of God, man. I don't know how I was able to do what I did in track and get a scholarship, but I did it. You know what I mean? Like, on that track, it's a million guys probably faster than me, man. It's a science to how to run and maintain that speed. People fail to realize. I was a great jumper. I was a triple jumper and a long jumper, and that what got me into school. So people was scratching their head about how fast I truly was, because they were like, "Damn, I thought you was a jumper." I'm like, "Yeah, I can run." Just didn't want to get on that track and get dusted. But football was always one. I could have done football and never really been known as a track guy, but I think it wasn't that easy for me, so I had to do both of them.
And that was crazy, because I wound up finding out, Santana's whole college career story when we sat down and talked with me, you, and Doc Walker when we had the Cowboy Week talk. And I never knew that Santana was a walk-on at University of Miami. I'm thinking Santana was a 4 or 5-star athlete out of Miami. It was always the man.
I was a nobody.
Right? I was like, damn, Santana kind of got a similar story to me, but shoot, he even was a walk-on. At least I got a scholarship from day one. I was like, God damn, he really got it out the mud.
Yeah.
Ted, how do you see the roster looking? Rivera's come in, shaking things up, tore it down, trying to build it back up. Feel like it heading in the right direction to you?
I'm optimistic always. So, of course I'm going to say yeah. But I think when you really truly look at things, some of the things that stands out to me is that we've really positioned ourselves to be in a spot where we really got guys that can really fulfill those areas of need. That was always key to me. Me and Bake played a long time together, and I don't recall ever seeing us go after needed areas. We just went after the player's name. Oh, we got this guy available. Let's get him. Oh, this guy available. Let's get him. We playing 3-4, but we're going to get a 4-3 defensive lineman and linebacker. Let's get those guys. That's not areas of need. You just filling the damn roster with, bodies. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm watching these guys develop players and kind of nitpick, their guys, quote unquote, their guys that they believe that's fit to come and play, for the Commanders, you're starting to see why Rivera has been known or had the kind of reputation he had in Carolina, because that's what made Carolina so well. They got the guys that they needed to run what they do well. And they wasn't necessarily looking at the guys or the other teams around the league and trying to, be in this celebrity race or whatever you want to call it. So watching the receivers, watching the quarterback, watching the offensive lineman year in and year out, getting those key guys in key spots, and just watching our backfield. I was content last year with McKissick and having AG, and just to fulfill that and get the little young kid that we got from Alabama, and now to add with those other two beasts and just keep steady getting guys at the wide receiver position and the tight end position. Oh man. Offensively, I look at it like this. You can say what you want, and everybody has whatever they have to say about Wentz. One of the things I like about this game is that every year you get a chance to redo whatever you've left everyone, to be pointing you out or known as that's going to be you. Every year I used to look forward to saying, okay, Tanner, you got 800 yards this year. This year is your year to get 1,000. I used to talk to myself like that. And that's some of the things that I had to do. I always shot for 1,000 yards every year, but it wasn't always given because of, I deal with different quarterbacks. System was never like it is now, where people are pass happy. And you would look at it and you'd be like, damn, why wasn't you getting 1,000 yards more often? I used to ask myself that shit. Why the hell I got to sit here and settle for 800, 900 some yards? But I look at the Wentz situation and I'm saying last year alone, just with the things he did over in Indy, if we had that Wentz, we would have won 3 more games last year. You know what I'm saying? Correct. So we've gotten better at the quarterback position. Regardless of what you want to say about the quarterback, we've gotten better, getting a guy that's capable. And at the end of the day, whatever it is that Wentz has been going through or went through in Philly and went through in Indy, I hope someone is in his mind or in his head telling him, like, bro, that's behind you. Who cares? Every year you get to train, you get to go out here and learn how to do this thing all over again. And that's what that was satisfied me about being a professional athlete, being a pro ball player, because it never was easy. It was always a struggle every offseason, just knowing that I got to get better. I can't be satisfied. I can't stay where I'm at. If I stay, somebody else is going to come and take over, you know what I mean? Or I'm going to be, washed up sooner or later. So I truly believe we got better at the quarterback position at every position on offense. And I think defensively, man, these guys steady, building that defense to really be the defense that we saw in Carolina, that defense that you can be, that without a doubt that's going to get you the ball back on third down and let the guys that do what they do best go out there and put the points on the board.
It's interesting. You were talking about fit and the quarterback, and Terry McLaurin has led the league in contested catches for a while now. That says something to him, but it also kind of says something about the quarterback. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, not being able to get on the ball and forcing it. It feels easy. I've always been surprised since they signed Wentz. I guess people are upset about what they paid for it, but I mean, we haven't had a guy throw the ball like this since Kirk Cousins, right? So, I mean, it's got to be exciting for the receiver and tight end room, right? I mean, how long does it take for you as a receiver to look at a quarterback and say, next, please?
Like that, snap of a finger. I can go through 1 month with you and know if you that guy or not. I mean, honestly, quarterbacks. Look, and I gotta watch my words when I speak about anybody. I'm just one of those guys. I be mindful a little bit. But one of the things I hate, the perception of a great quarterback is by looking at how strong his arm is. It's not a great quarterback. I was watching the draft and we talk so much about the kid, Malik Willis, right? That's his name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They talk so much about how strong his arm is, and wow, you see how deep this dude can throw the ball. And like, I didn't watch a lot of them, so I can't sit here and nitpick at what he did well or not. But I just was like, man, that don't wow me as a receiver. You know what I mean? Because I care less about you throwing a zillion yards across the field. I need to know that when these defensive schemes start being presented week in and week out, you're going to find an open guy. You're going to give me the ball when I'm coming out of my break, when I don't have to see you give me the ball, and you're going to always hit the open guy. And that's what, to me, made a great quarterback. So just knowing that we haven't had that in a while, don't get me wrong, I tip my head off to Taylor Heineke. Like, trust me, I love the way he played the game. But when you have to really be critical and look at some of the things that he lacked, it showed. It showed in those pivotal games where we really needed a quarterback to be a difference maker. And even when we didn't expect him to be difference makers, he was. So it's kind of like, you know what I mean, which guy you're going to get. But we can't afford that if you're trying to be the elite or be amongst the elite in this league. You got to have a quarterback that at the end of the day, he's going to bail us out. He's going to bail us out. It's not going to be this week or that. We know he's going to bail us out. Or even if he can't bail us out, our team collectively, we are sound in all areas where we can just do the bare minimum with our quarterback and still get the job done. I think the bare minimum with having a Heineke is that when you wanted him to just do the bare minimum, that's when we got in more trouble. And that's hard. You know what I mean? When you get in more trouble doing the bare minimum. But when he went out there and did his thing, that's when we made plays. No, we can't afford that. So,
and then I felt like even with him, he was really successful when we had our running game going. You know, if we didn't have a good running game, you could forget about him. If we get down 21 points, 17 points, you can forget about him just sitting back, dropping back, throwing 50 passes, and we're going to have a great day. That wasn't happening. He was going to throw about 6 or 7 interceptions. We're going, oh, what the hell is he doing? You know,
and that's because of lack of height and lack of ball, you know, arm strength, and just being one of those heroic guys trying to hold on to the ball a little bit. So I just see us trending in the right way when you come to just the weapons we have on the outside now. I think, you know, getting the kid from Penn State, I mean, trust me, like, Dawson's gonna truly make every guy in that room bring their A game. Now guys gonna be looking like, well, oh shit, we got a first round guy, because you know first round mean he's coming to play.
Right.
Even if you don't believe that, they believe he's coming to play. And I hope he has that mindset of knowing that look, this is my show. Even with a guy like Terry being that guy. If you really want to put those two guys together, man, and if you look at Terry as a young guy and Dawson as a young guy, like critique Terry coming into this league and critique Dawson coming into this league. I think, and don't get me wrong, don't misquote me. When you look at the body of work, how Dawson do things on the college, how he played in the college level, he's a more fluent pass catcher, route runner, all the above than a Terry was at that age coming into this league. Now, Terry went out there and showed the world that regardless of what you saw about my game, I'm going to get better and better and better. And now I'm going to be one of those guys that you have to speak about, you know, as top 10, you know, top 7 receiver. Dawson coming in as a more fluent wideout. He can do it all from the outside to the inside to throwing the ball up to contested catches, all that. Now, that's great saying that, but he has to do it on this level. But I think he's primed to do so just with his athleticism and just with his knowledge of the game. So if you get a guy as polished as Dotson is or was on the collegiate level, and you get probably 75% of that his rookie year, we just got better at the receiver position, because now those other guys who don't want to see him in front of them, they got to step their game up. You get a.
I was gonna say, what does this do for a guy like Diami Brown, who just got drafted in the 3rd round last year?
You better show up, because if not, you're gonna be 5th.
Or you're gonna be 5th or on all the special teams.
Well, bingo. And the one thing that we know about him, he's a speedster. But now you got a guy in Dawson that he's a speedster, and Terry been a speedster, and Curtis Samuel's been a speedster. Also, Curtis is he's one of those Swiss Army knives. He can do a lot of things, and I'm sure that's probably what we're gonna do. We're gonna tend to use him the way they use him in Carolina, because you don't want to see a guy like that just predominantly outside, being an X or Z receiver. But with all that being said, you have so many weapons now. Now you don't have to worry about saying where's the help. You know what I mean? Because now you pick your poison. So I just feel like that's what makes a team better. When you have that, and that's what made the Miami teams of all the years. People ask that question, why was you guys so good? Because your defensive backs was all Americans, and your wide receiver room was all Americans, and the coaches was like already setting the tone during the week. Yeah, we're gonna get more of this week, and our coaches telling us that we don't dominate in X, Y, we're gonna be running laps and doing all this. Oh no, we want blood. You know what I mean? So that's what it's gonna be like in these rooms. These guys, regardless of what they getting paid, regardless of what they feel like they have, you're never satisfied. You always want to be that guy. And if somebody told you they didn't, then they lying to you. Even when I told you that I was okay for what I did, yeah, I was okay, but that didn't stop me from wanting to be that guy. That's why I went out and played that way. So I think that's what's gonna, really step everybody's game up. Just knowing that now you bringing the guys in the room to replace you, and it's regardless if the coach says it or not, it's there. You can see it, and you can see by what round they was picked, why that means so much. Because now these guys coming in to play right now, there's no this guy finna learn from you. Nah, people get in, and I don't want to be too long-winded, but people getting all caught up in this whole thing about what the Titans quarterback said. He wasn't wrong.
No,
It's not wrong. I'm
No.
not. It's not my job to mentor him. No, he coming from my spot. Now, he's not saying, he didn't say I'm going to be rude to him. He didn't say I'm going to tell him to F off. He said, look, if he learns from me, so be it. But man, I'm out here to fight for my job. This is my livelihood. This is what I know. And if he's anything is what they advertise, he can have it. So therefore, I got to get my shit together and make sure I'm my best. And that's how it's going to be in our room on both sides of the ball. Everybody got to bring their A game.
Yep.
One of those said what he was supposed to say. Yeah, keep to yourself, he said out loud type of moments.
I think it was just one of those situations, man. Everybody is
so critical of everything that you're saying.
This world has turned sensitive as hell. You can't say anything. We went
Right.
from freedom of speech to now you better be careful what you say. You know what I'm saying? I've always been mindful that regardless of what they say, keep it to yourself, Tanner. Unless you got to say it. You know what I mean? And that's why, I handle the business the way I do. That's why I'm very mindful of talking about others, because you've been in those shoes before. You don't want to just get out there and talk trash about somebody. You don't know what that guy going through, but just speak from experience and give your insight. Your insight doesn't have to be the deciding factor or the answer. We don't all have the answers, but if that's my opinion, that's my opinion.
Jamal, were you getting ready to say something?
Nah, I was about Tanny, but at the same time, when it comes to Washington's offense, never mind Tannehill, I think one of the things that's important that Santana was talking about was what Carson can provide or what the offense needs, and I guess that one of the key words is anticipation, like being able to hit those guys out of their breaks and things like that, and understanding what the coverages are. And I think one of the things with Wentz, what it'll bring, and also with a guy like Dotson and Terry McLaurin, and they're high IQ players. And I'm looking forward to seeing how this thing meshes, because if you're understanding, if I put it this way, Drake London was reportedly like their number one on the board. But if you were to get a substitute with Drake London, despite on how they rank their wide receivers, but if you were to get a substitute on Drake London, Jahan Dotson is the next best thing because of his catch radius. He's 5'11", but he plays 6'4". I would love a guy like that on my team, and that's why I was saying, like, when it comes to like what they're trying to build with this offense, they're trying to get guys with those high IQs, but also trying to get these guys with these catch radiuses. Look at the tight end, Cole Turner, guy 6'6", 6'7", and then you got Logan who's 6'6", and then you got the undrafted dude from Arizona State, Hodges, he's 6'8", and then you got your tight end from John Bates, 6'6". Like all these guys
it's a basketball team.
It's a basketball team. They all power forwards, all centers. So I think I understand what they're trying to do. Whether or not it's going to work or not that's up to them. Like, they got to put the pieces together in the scheme thing. But you can see what they're trying to do with the quarterback position. They're trying to make sure all these guys have that catch radius to save Carson Wentz if he was to make a mistake. But they also have these smart guys on both sides, from the receiver and the quarterback, where they can make plays. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how this whole thing meshes. I think there's opportunity for this offense. But to like Tanner's point, that anticipation is going to be key, and the arm strength. To Tanner's point, it's not all about arm strength, but if you can mesh all those things together, that's kind of what makes the makings of a good to great to elite quarterback. And we'll see where Carson Wentz fits now.
And then you got to look at this, like when Carson Wentz first got into the league, he was looked at as the next Tom Brady. Like, everyone loved him. He was 18 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Then he had that wild injury when he tried to dive into the end zone and hurt his knee, and then it's kind of been like up and down ever since. But if we could get anything close to that, anything close to the quarterback that we're used to seeing when it came to Wentz when he first got into the league, this is going to help our team out a lot. And then with the philosophy that our head coach has, he's a run-first offense guy. So if we could get that run game going and then have a quality quarterback when we have to throw it, be able to make those throws on time and right when you get out your break as a wide receiver, the sky is the limit for our team. We got key players in the trenches and the offensive line that can really help us block people and really get 3, 4, 5 yards of gain on the ground. And we got the running backs that can do it. We got running backs that can actually run between the tackles, and we got guys that we can split out as wide receivers and be great decoys out there. Our running backs can catch better than a lot of starting receivers in this league. So I feel like our offense is really coming together. And just like Santana said, we got guys that fit the system. We didn't just go get any guy that was just like a highlight name. We got guys that fit the system, and Ron got Ron guys. You know what I mean? So as long as those Ron guys come in and play the way we think they were going to play, our team is going to be very good.
250 carries for Gibson last year, 70 carries for Patterson last year, another 40 or 45 for McKissick. I guess what I'm getting to is the second round pick's going to get work next year. If they can get that, if they can get Gibson number closer to 200, and sorry for Patterson, but if he gives up probably all 70, I mean, that's a lot of work for the second round pick. I think people were surprised they took him, but they got a plan for him. And frankly, Gibson's been nicked the last 2 years, and although he plays every game, I mean, the turf toe and then the fracture in the shin bone, it'd be good to get some work off of him and moved on to the big man.
But you only get a guy that's going through what Gibson has been going through is because of putting too much on. You know what I mean?
Overusage. Yep.
Overusage and just allowing that to happen because you just don't have nobody else. And I think they could have easily went to Patterson a lot earlier last year, but he was a rookie, so you really had to, we was trying to fight for position to just being, having an opportunity to say that we have a chance to get to the playoff berth because of our start, our coming out of the gate not so well. So I understand why you didn't play certain guys, but man, I don't understand people. How could you say what somebody's worth? He's a football player. He's best for what we do, and he's available. Let's have him. You know what I mean? And that's and he's a champion. Played on the best college football team, the second best, because they didn't win the national championship last year. But he's been on the team, that same team that has basically either won the national championship or been in the run for a national championship for the last 4 years. So if you don't think he can compete on this level at a high level, then you don't really know football. But everybody get caught up into numbers and statistics and all that stuff. And to me, I think that's when it goes out the door. Just watch a guy play ball at the highest level against the top tier talent, and then you can tell me where he should be slotted. No, that's not how it goes. If he's available, he good for what you do, he fits. You don't want to take a chance of letting him slip anymore because someone else is going to get him. He's my guy. So I just think that, that's key when picking in the drafts. And that's some of the same things I was saying, in the first round, where it didn't necessarily have to be this guy, that guy, just the best available guy for that round. I think that's why you saw Washington take a jump backwards to get more picks and also still be able to get their guy. Because I had, I was saying Olabi the whole week coming up to the draft at 11, and look, he went 11 to New Orleans. And I'm like, wow, we had a chance to get the guy who I thought we was going to get. But I think when it comes down to it, watching the body of work that some of these guys have displayed the last few years, he didn't fit what we wanted to be our second guy. You know what I mean? He's great talent, but everyone look at him and say, well, we need somebody that can have a little more pop to him, and when it comes down to just character alone, I think Ron looks mostly into that, that to me, I think he pays close attention to as well than just the athletic ability. And I think, when you hear him talk about Dawson, that was his guy. He said to him that was the second guy he had on the board when it comes to wideouts, and he was available, so he got him.
Hey, Tanner, just a quick question. Being that we both played for Washington and was under Dan Snyder, how do you feel about the organizational things that's going on with the organization, with us not really being able to sign free agents because all the question marks that's going on with the organization? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that will?
I said it sucks because you really don't know what's the truth behind a lot of the stuff,
Right.
I've always been a guy that, shit, if it ain't got nothing to do with me, I kind of stay out of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But in the day, we're working there. I'm worked there, that's the team that I played for, and the owner, who some of these accusations are being, are thrown on, you hate to see him have to deal with it, but at the same time, you don't know what's true or what's not, you know what I mean?
Right.
When it comes down to the sensitive matter of dealing with women, anytime there's something dealing with a woman, I get the hell out of the way, because at the end of the day, you got to put yourself in the, one in those women's shoes, or the man or men that's involved with those women that have to worry about their women in those environments, or that was their mom, sister, wife, you name it. You kind of try to say, man, damn, what would I feel? How would I feel knowing, my wife or significant other had to go deal with that, or sister or mom had to deal with that at the workplace. And one of the reasons why, we don't had these talks before. And I'm pretty sure you've heard me, because as men, we all men, and we talk, we see women every day, and we look. People fail to realize you have eyes on your head for a reason. Like, you can look, and it's always gonna be somebody that walks by you or you see that be like, it's gonna make you look. That's you can go with that, you know what I mean? Because you have to understand, even with looking at a woman wrong these days, man, like that's almost some kind of harassment, you know what I mean?
Right.
I was always mindful about how I act around women's company from a little boy, and it's crazy that young Tanner that used to always have these thoughts. Now we in 2022, and it's almost to the point to where I was thinking this stuff before it really kind of, slapped a lot of us in the face with how these situations can occur. So you just hate to see our organization having to deal with this stuff, man. You hate to see the women that's some of this stuff has, put on their careers, and they had to deal with some of these issues too, because like I said before, I don't know the truth. So I have to play both sides. I can't just on one side of the fence and say, well, I'm with the team and screw what they got going on. Nah, I'm all for what's right. And at the end of the day, if these women was done wrongly, then whatever happens. That's what should happen. You know what I mean? Long as it's handled the right way. But again, back to the whole question, man, you just hate to hear it because you want so much for the organization. You love the owner because who he is to you and for what you know of him. And you just hope that you kind of have a little thing in the back of your head that you hope and say, well, I just hope some of this stuff is not dealing directly with him. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
That's the same way I feel, bro. Because it's like I've never had any bad interactions with Dan. It's always been family, it's always been love. So when you hear this type of stuff that's going on, it's like, what? Like, no way this could be Dan. No way this could happen in the organization. He has a beautiful wife. He has kids. Like, he would never allow crazy stuff like this to happen. But then it just seems like week after week, there's new allegations. There's a new story about this, and then.
Now you have to understand this too, and this is not getting on one side of it. And I know, like, once one person bring your name up about some wrongdoing, it's gonna be a slew of others gonna jump on board and say, well, hey, somebody open that door, let me jump in it too. You know what I mean? Correct. So that's something too that I'm looking at. Like, just really don't know you don't know the truth. Put it like that. You don't know the truth. And you try your best just to say, hey, man, I just hope the best happen. I hope at the end that these women get whatever they sought out to get or receive, and whether it's, this stuff to be put out there enough to where it stops, or it has stopped since then. And if not that, just, dealt with right financially, if that's what they're looking for, you know what I mean? Because you hate to see people lose their job because of something like that also, you know what I mean?
Correct.
Like I would hate to know that she lost her job because she spoke out about someone, sexually, harassing her or being on that level when they wasn't supposed to at the workplace. So you just want the best for them, you know what I'm saying?
That's right.
I talk shit if we're having a peanut butter and jelly making competition. Tanner, are you a shit talker?
Depends on what Tanner you get. Nah, I'm a Gemini.
Tanner talking that shit. He's spinning that ball. He's talking that shit, motherfucker.
It depends on what not the gate. I won't consider myself one out the gate. But if you one of them cats that feel like you doing something, it's gonna come. And it's gonna come at the right time. It's gonna come. It might not even be from me verbally. You might see my strut change. You might see the ball spin a little longer. And you know what I mean? And now the camera gonna be on you because now I just made your mama mad. You know what I mean? So I have my share with what I want to say when I say it. I'm not just one of those. I'm not Chris Baker. Nah, I'm not him. Nah.
Was there a DB that made you talk more shit than another one?
No, you know what? It's DBs that talks a lot of shit, and you got to tip your head off to them. You can't get into that whole going back and forth with them because that's not your game. You know what I'm saying? I knew
you get tired of talking so much shit.
Yeah, like I'm not a bit talker. I just told you I'm not a bit talker. So me talking back and forth with you would get me out of my game. But I will, I utter some words that you might not want to hear, you know what I mean, through your mess talking. Like I would say something that gonna make you, damn, he just called me that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna say it in a tone that let you know I mean what I said. And then after a play or two, after I made a play on you, I'm gonna look at you. I ain't got to talk now because the play don't speak for itself. You know, so I've always liked to let my game speak more than just words like that. To me, you know, my dad used to always tell me, and this is something I live by. You know, a killer ain't gonna tell you you're a killer. And I was young when my daddy told me that, you know, and I used to be like, what the hell he meant by that? And as I got older, I started realizing there was a lot of dudes that bark a lot. You know, have you ever been in that yard, walk across past that yard, and it's that one dog that bark? And as soon as you open that gate, that motherfucking dog ain't got nothing to do, but he don't want no trouble. So I had to put one and two together, like, oh, most of the time when you talking, you really scared. You know what I'm saying? You really want me to think that you bit better than what you are. You know what I mean? And so I learned it at a young age. And that what made me realize that don't look at the guy that's doing a lot of barking, because he really ain't about that. You know what I mean? The guy that's quiet, me, I'm ready. I'm ready to hit you in your face. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I ain't gonna be mad when I do it. I'm gonna look at you and I might say, hey, you all right? Just to see how your energy is. You know what I'm saying? So them the guys you gotta be scared of. You can't, them niggas, them dudes that's talking, yeah, let them talk, man.
When you
we knew sitting on that bench when that ball started spinning, Taylor was saying something.
Yeah.
Hey, so when you was lining up on the field, because Jahan is he's coming into the league where he could play multiple positions too. Like he's a versatile player. And when I was younger, you know, I'm young now, but I ain't gonna say my age. But when I was younger, like 2014 or so, I know you played a lot of time in the slot for Shanahan, or was that Gruden? I don't remember. 14, whatever year that was. But you was playing slot towards the tail end of the career. What was your position that you kind of liked throughout your career? Was it that X, the Z, or the slot? And I'm trying to figure out more so how Jahan can kind of work this in, because I know he's going to be playing everywhere. It's not like he's going to be delegated to the slot or the Z or anything like that. But what was your favorite position and the kind of the coverage that you kind of see, or the things that you're allowed to do on an offense based on where you lined up?
So when I came up in college, I played the slot, and then I was the Z receiver in college. And Reggie Wayne the X, I was the Z. When we got 3 receivers on the field, I moved over to the slot. I didn't play that at all until my 10th year in the NFL. Like, that's what I did in college. If you ever watched film on me and saw what I did all my damage, I would be a Z on regular downs, and on third down, move over to the slot, and I kick behind. And it was just like unfathomable. I couldn't fathom that, how you get a guy of my caliber, you put him in the league and you say, I'm going to put you at X and Z all your career. I'm not going to let you touch the slot until your 10th year in the career. I mean, 10th year in the league. And so the Shanahans, honestly gave me the opportunity with their offense. And then after they saw so much from me, that 2010 season, when I was a shell of myself. I had just came off of knee surgery. I didn't even practice with the team until training camp. I was fat. You know, I couldn't even run at the catch. I would literally catch the ball and look for the ground. Like, come on, tackle me now. And I still went out there and put up 1,000 yards, had my most catches out of my whole career. And so I think they saw that and said, okay, he can give us more volume, or we can get more out of Tanner just putting him in the slot. We don't need to put him outside when he's not going to get the ball, when he's needed, or when he needs it. And I appreciate the role they gave me for playing the slot. A lot of the younger cats don't know me as the guy that used to be outside, killing people week in and week out. They knew me as a slot guy because, these young kids watching the game now, they just saw the tail end of my career. But I didn't necessarily care about what position, X, Y, Z, zebra, gator. I didn't care. I just wanted the ball. And I didn't want the ball every day. I wanted it when I beat my guy. And I beat him 9 out of 10 times the damn time when I'm out there on the field. But I just wanted the opportunity, you know what I mean? And to me, I think people get caught up into, oh, I want to play this, I want to play that. If you can play it all, shit, I could have played tight end. I knew the position. I could have played H-back. I played there before in certain offenses. You know what I mean? My first year in 05 with the Redskins, they would line me up out wide, and I would run and get in motion and come in the backfield and run the same routes that I would run in a slot. So I can do all that. And I think some teams get caught up into their scheme instead of using that talent. And that's what you saw
Yes.
Kansas City do so well. They used Tyreek Hill the way he's supposed to be used. They used the talent. They didn't say this is our scheme, we're going to stick to it. No, that you don't win games like that. And I saw us win games like that in 2005. We scratched our whole playbook in the passing game. And they just put a list out and say, I'm new to the team. So they trying to find the best way to get me the ball. They like, Tanner, can you run this? Whether I could run it or not, I said yes, but I knew I could run every route. That was one of the things that I was gifted with. In my little small size and frame, and the speed turbo boost out that I was given and blessed with from birth, man, I can do everything you want me to do on the football field on the offensive side of the ball. Just ask me to do it, and I'm gonna find a way to get it done. So, I my whole career, bro, I was pissed off and ticked off with different offenses that I played in because I felt like I had a talent that wasn't always used, and I care less about positions. I care less about X, Y, Z. Man, just give me the ball when the time is needed, and I'm gonna make something happen.
And that's why I was telling people when it came to Debo, I was like, man, I hope Debo understand what he's doing, because when you leave that Shanahan office, man, I don't know what it is about those Shanahan. They know how to get their playmakers the ball.
I'm gonna be real with you. And I'm glad you spoke on that. Like, I think highly of Debo. I was a big fan of him coming out of college. But that was year what? 3 or 4 for Debo? 4 or 3?
He said it's a 4.
4. Yeah. He had a couple of injuries here and there. He had a year or two where he had about 800 yards. That was his year. Last year was his year. And guess how he did that? Being a dual threat. Don't stop what's making you be your best. You know what I mean? You don't get beside yourself. And I find it hard to believe some of these guys. I don't find it hard. No, that's this game. Today's game, these guys are, we talked about divas before. These guys are divas because now the money is driving a lot of people to say what they want and how they want it done, instead of going out there saying, man, look, this is what you got. You got my best out of me doing this. Now I understand you saying that, hey, I'm taking too many blows at the running back position. I don't want to be out there when I don't need to be. I understand that. But with that offense, the Shanahan's offense, by the way, that's been my favorite offense through all my 14 years of playing football. That offense is going to allow you to be your best, Debo. So don't go out there and ask for more than you can chew. Because I'm sure a team going to give you that chance to be number one. And it's hard to win every down outside when they could put a blanket over you. You saw that with me. When they got to the point to where that's why the Shanahan's found out. They say, look, we put 10 at Z, they found a way to double me. They put me at X, they found a way to double me. They put me in a slot. Oh, you can't double him. If you do double him, we got gangsters on the outside. So you got to be mindful of what you ask for, because these teams, these coaches, they pay their big money the way they paid for a reason. They're going to find a way to scheme up something to stop you. If you want to play predominantly outside, we'll get you. Go ahead. But what you're best at is making us have to sleep, have less sleep at night, knowing that we got to scheme up things that's going to have you all over the field. And I just hope he don't, ask for more than he can chew, man, because it's hard in this league. I care less what people say. I know the league has got a lot softer when it comes to how you hand check a guy, how long you can do all that stuff. They don't press as much. I had a guy pressing me every down, because they knew my ability, what it was going to be like after I got 5 yards behind you. You know what I mean? So these guys have a little more leverage that they can use. So use all of it,
Hey, Swag, to that question, my bad, Doug. I just
No,
have
go
one
ahead.
more. To that same effect, when it comes to Big Phil Mathis, he's coming in kind of take up space. I guess is the easiest way to say it to everybody. He's here to eat up space, be that run defender for the defense. But in college, he played multiple alignments on the defensive line. It's a two-parter. What was your favorite position and technique that you was playing on the defensive line that you felt played best when the coaches put you there? But also speak to kind of how you think that Phil can play on this defensive line, given that he has John Allen and Daron Payne on the opposite end of him on both sides. What do you think that's working out for Phil?
Well, for the first part of the question, I like to play all around the defensive line. I feel like in my earlier years, I got pigeon-toed and just being a nose tackle, but I knew I was athletic and I could play. So I would be by the nose tackle. I played the 3-4 nose my first few years in Denver, Miami, and then when I got here to Washington, I played nose. But I've always was one of those guys who they would always see in the backfield making plays somehow, some way. And when I moved over to defensive end, I was really able to use my athleticism and run down people and crash the pocket. You know, I was able to pass rush better coming from a 5 technique than a 0 when you're getting double team all the time. And then being an undrafted guy, they always told me the more you can do, the better off you are. So I never wanted to limit myself by saying, hey, I'm just a nose tackle, or hey, I'm just a defensive end. Wherever you line me up at, I'll try my best to, be the best that I can be. But I feel like the guy that we just got from Alabama, he kind of remind me of myself. There's nowhere where you could really just line him up and say he's just the nose, or he's just the 3 technique, or he's just the end. You could put him in. He has position versatility. So you can line him up at the 5, you can line him up at the 3, you can line him up at the shade, and he'll be effective no matter where you're playing. And the fact that you got
Lorenzo Alexander a little bit. I ain't mean
Lorenzo, because when I was there with Lorenzo, he barely played because we had Arakpo and Kerrigan out there. But as soon as Arakpo got hurt, and then Lorenzo started playing, I was like, yo, I didn't even know Lorenzo was this nice.
Man, we had
who is this guy?
One time.
He turned up in Buffalo.
He was
fullback. He was an offensive lineman. He was a defensive tackle. He was a linebacker, special team guru. But there's nowhere this guy can't play, and that's what you want when you draft players and you get guys in. You want position versatile guys, and you can line them up anywhere on that defensive line. He should be effective. And the fact that he has other good defensive linemen surrounded by him, he could just go out there and do his thing, knowing that Allen and Payne are going to be there to do things the right way. He may be able to mess up and do something that's not even in the scheme, but he got other guys doing it right next to him, and he can make a play.
Let's wrap with this, because I just realized we're almost at an hour. 10. I appreciate all the time today. I'm just curious your thoughts on the new logo and the name.
I really don't have nothing to say about it. I think it is.
And how will you go? I know what Swaggy thinks, but you still a Redskin, a Washington football guy? I mean, what's the plan there going forward?
I mean, I play for the Redskins. I mean, you can't never take that away from me. At the end of the day, I just spoke on about how I'm all about what's real and what's right. So at the end of the day, if we can't be known for who we play for, then I have to secretly know that myself. Then I will. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If I can't speak publicly about who I play for, then I would speak privately about it, because I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. But at the end of the day, man, I'm all Washington. I'm all Washington I could be. You could change this thing to lieutenants, the lieutenant to whatever you want to name them. I'm a Washington, football guy, and regardless of what name they put on there, I represent it. I represent it well.
Tanner, appreciate the time today, man. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you, fellas.
Appreciate you, Tanner, man.
All right,
appreciate you guys.
All right, man. Chris, I'll see you Monday. Jamal, I'll holler at you. Thanks for doing this today with us.
Yes, sir. All right, y'all.
All right.